everybody, JC here with another TNI news video. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's hop right into it. So first thing I want to talk about today is the NECA San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. Now last week I told you about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle box set that they were doing, the Turtles, the 4 Turtle figures, and then Shredder, the 2 foot soldiers, and Krang with the robot walker, all based on the animated series. Now, besides that, they've also announced that they're doing an Aliens figure for their 7-inch scale Aliens line, and this one is called the Sewer Mutation Alien Warrior. And this figure is actually a tribute. It pays tribute to the pizza-eating monster from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Appeared in the 80s cartoon and such, so this is actually kind of a tribute to that. And that figure is going to cost $30. And both that and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set, along with any other San Diego Comic-Con exclusives that they announce, and there should be more coming, but those will all go up for pre-order on June 20th. So if you're not attending the convention, you will be able to hit their website and pre-order these if you want to try and add them to your collection. If you're going to the convention, then basically they'll be selling them on a first come, first served basis. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set, if you recall, will cost $200. And moving on to Mezco, this week they released images and information for their upcoming 112 Collective Wonder Woman movie figure. So this is based on the new movie that just hit theaters. And this figure is going to have the shield and sword that you see her use in the movie, as well as her magic lasso, just a rolled up version of the lasso. It's going to have 2 different head sculpts, 3 different pairs of hands, and a figure stand. And that figure is slated for release at the end of this year or early next year, and should be up for pre-order at places like Big Bad Toy Store, if not already, anytime now. On the Marvel front, not a whole lot to talk about. However, I did want to share this image that popped up online for one of Hasbro's upcoming basic figures, their 6-inch basic line for SpiderMan Homecoming. It's a figure of the Shocker. Now, I'm not entirely sure if Shocker appears in this movie in this costume, or if this is just something they create for the toy line itself. Now, I know Shocker is in the movie, but he's I believe he's one of Vulture's goons that are going around stealing technology. At least that's what I gather from the trailers that we've seen. But again, I don't know if he's actually going to be wearing this costume or something similar to this. It'll be curious to see if Hasbro actually does a Marvel Legends version of Shocker at some point. And then finally on the news front this week, I wanted to talk about some Transformer stuff. We got a couple of new Masterpiece reveals this week. So first of all, we got an early look at the upcoming Beast Wars Dinobot. Not a lot of details on this figure, but if you're a fan of the Beast Wars, you'll probably be pretty excited for this one. These images come courtesy of a convention overseas, and the images hit online. And then besides that, we also got news of a new Sideswipe. This is being deemed as the animated version, and honestly I can't tell a whole lot of difference between this and the previous version that they released. It looks like some of the silver parts were swapped out for white parts to give it that more animated look to it, but otherwise it looks like it's pretty much the same figure. And then finally, the biggest news, at least for me, is the reveal of the new Masterpiece Sunstreaker that's coming. I've been waiting for Sunstreaker ever since we got Sideswipe. If you're not familiar in G1 lore, Sideswipe and Sunstreaker are brothers. They're both based on Lamborghinis, but they are actually different molds, surprisingly. You would have kind of thought that they would have used the same mold, since that was a pretty common practice back then, but you did actually have 2 different molds with Sunstreaker and Sideswipe. So I actually like the Sunstreaker mold a little bit better, and this Masterpiece looks pretty good and pretty true to that original G1 version. Now, Sunstreaker is going to come with a number of accessories. He's going to come with a little mask that you can put on his face. It's an alien mask, and this is from the episode where Trax goes to Hollywood and the other Autobots want to be in a Hollywood film, and so they end up getting cast as alien extras, and so they're wearing these cheesy looking alien masks, and so they include that. He's going to have 2 different weapons, a smaller blaster and then a larger one. And then he's also going to come with a mini Chip Chase figure. So Chip was the computer genius that was in a wheelchair, and so we're getting a mini version of him. And a mini version actually looks pretty detailed for these little figures that we see with this line. And Chip is actually, you can take him out of the wheelchair. It doesn't look like he really has any articulation, but you can remove him from the wheelchair. And that figure will be released later this year, and you can pre-order it at Big Bad Toy Store. Also, he's going to have the shoulder, looks like he's got the shoulder missiles that the original G1 toy had. I'm assuming those are removable, but I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so that's it for news this week, and now on to the Q&A portion of the video. So if you're not familiar with the Q&A, basically you guys just ask questions in the comments section below of these news videos, and then I'll go down and pick out a few for next week's video. So I've got 4 for this week, and if you want to ask a question for a future video, just ask it down below in the comments section of this video. Just put Q&A with your question, and I'll try and get to it next week. So the first question comes from SpiderBoy271, who asks, have you heard anything about the Marvel Legends SpiderMan Homecoming, Spider-Man, and Iron Man 2-pack? Thanks. So I assume you're asking specifically when it's going to be released. The 2-pack was announced back during Toy Fair in February, and it's going to come with a Tom Holland Spider-Man with an alternate unmasked head, and then the Iron Man, the new Iron Man armor that we see in the trailer. And I don't have a specific release date on this. As far as I know, it should be out in July, but I don't have that 100% confirmed. But last time I checked, it looked like it was going to be released in July. But again, I don't have a specific date, but it should be out, very soon with the Spider-Man Homecoming stuff already hitting shelves. The only reason why I don't think it'll be out sooner is simply because we haven't seen like any leaked or overseas images of the 2-pack yet. But again, I'm looking at probably late July for that to be released. Next question comes from Sandra, and they ask, hey JC, do you think that Mafex will make the Justice League action figures? So I assume you mean movie figures, and yes, I would imagine they will do movie figures. I don't know if they'll do all of the team, but definitely will do some. And also, I'm guessing Tomasi Nations will do some SH Figure Arts ones as well. So the next question comes from Fabs TV, and they ask, great work, JC. Love your videos. One question. After the cancellations, is the DC Icons line officially dead? No, the line is still going, definitely going through the end of this year. I don't know after that what's in store for the line. Hopefully we'll get some more details in July at San Diego Comic-Con, but definitely the line is not dead. Okay, and the final question comes from Timo, who asks, do you know why NECA doesn't have greater distribution of their products in main department stores, since they do offer popular licensed products? So that's a very good question. Now, before I get into the answer, I do want to apologize if you hear some banging and stuff in the background. There's some construction going on next door, which I unfortunately have no control over. But it might be picked up on the mic, so I do apologize for that. But this is a very good question. I don't have a definitive answer for it. There's probably a number of multiple reasons why this is. Now, I assume you're specifically referring to like Target and Walmart, since Toys R Us does carry most NECA products. But the reasons I gather or speculate why you don't see them in a Target, Walmart is one, price point. A lot of times NECA figures, because they have a little better quality as far as paint applications and accessories and stuff, tend to be a little more expensive than, say, like a Marvel Legends or something. But that's just enough of a price increase that it keeps larger retailers like Walmart and Target from carrying those lines. Also could be just the licenses, even though the video game licenses and the horror film licenses and stuff like that NECA does is popular. It's still not something maybe quite as attractive to a Walmart or a Target, mainly because they have limited shelf space and they can only carry so many toys. And so they're kind of choosy of what they tend to carry. But it's not so much of a bad thing when a retailer doesn't, like Walmart and Target, carry a product, because a lot of times when they do, they put the restrictions on the toy companies. I talked to Randy Falk at NECA Toys about their Pacific Rim line a year or so ago, and he was telling me how originally Walmart was interested in carrying the Pacific Rim line, so when they started to make the first figure in that line, they had to reduce things like accessories and paint or paint detail and things like that to keep the cost down for Walmart. So if you have that very first Pacific Rim figure, you'll notice it's not quite as good as the later figures they did in the line. Eventually Walmart decided not to carry the Pacific Rim line, so then NECA had more freedom to do more with the line as far as adding things to it, because they weren't limited to a certain price point. But that is a drawback when these larger retailers do carry these figures, because again, they want to keep the price point down they don't really, they see an action figure and they think, kids and parents and stuff, and that parents not going to pay $25-$30 for an action figure. And so, again, it does limit the manufacturer when these larger retailers do carry their products. Now, from the manufacturer's standpoint, it's definitely better for them. They're going to make more money, because if a Walmart and a Target carries their product, then they're going to be able to make a lot more, sell a lot more. But in the end, those are probably the reasons why you don't see more NECA products in places like Target and Walmart. Again, I can't say 100% that that's the case, but just from what I've gleaned and talking to people in the industry, that's primarily why. Okay, so that's it for this week. As I said, if you've got a question that you want to have asked and answered in a future news video, just ask it down below, put Q&A with your question. Also, please follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. It's a good way to keep in touch with me. You can also ask me questions there. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're so inclined, please like the video as well. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later.